Hello and welcome to the Kismet podcast. My name is Karina Way and today in the studio I'm chatting with Lachlan Smale. Hello.
Hi Karina, how are you?
I'm super well. Are you happy for me to call you Lachie?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. How are you feeling? Are you doing okay?
Doing well, yes. It's sort of been a busy few months in the finance and acquisitions team, but sort of coming to a little period now of rest, and I'm sort of going to Europe next week. So,
yay! Okay, I want to hear all about it, but can you please let us know the role that you have at Kismet, and then I would love to understand how you got to where you are, and then I want to chat about Europe.
Perfect. Yep. So I'm the strategy and investments manager at Kismet, playing within the finance and acquisitions team, but also more broadly across all of the different business units. It's a very generalist title, and it sort of speaks to my generalist background. Finished my commerce degree, didn't know what I wanted to do, went back to uni, studied a Master of Business, which in reality was pretty similar to my commerce degree, but then went into management consulting, again keeping it very broad. The firm I joined was sort of keeping it at the industry agnostic level, so I did work across a lot of different industries. Went up to Canberra to join a boutique consultancy, again keeping it pretty broad but having a little bit more of an insight into public sector consulting, before then transitioning over to London, financial services, investment banking, and then back to Melbourne.
Okay, so rewind. Master's degrees seem like a lot. That's a lot that you have to do. Are you happy that you did it in the end, even though it was slightly similar to what you'd already done?
It's one of those ones that I probably don't have too many regrets in life, but in hindsight, looking at it purely objectively, I probably didn't need to do the Master of Business. Like, I think the Bachelor of Commerce prepared me enough for what I wanted to do in corporate life. So I think that was a little bit of it's just a monetary lesson in the sense that you come out of it with quite a lot more on your HEC/help, but also timing wise probably wasn't ready to go straight into working life after the Bachelor of Commerce. Like, I had other priorities when I was in my commerce degree, primarily soccer. So
So tell me about that. Is that something that you wanted to do earlier on? You thought about being a pro footballer?
It would have been nice.
Player?
Yes, yeah? It would have been nice. And I still hold the opinion that a professional sports person is one of the best careers you can have. But again, in hindsight, looking at it purely objectively, I don't think I was anywhere near it. But the closest I came was two scouts both from the professional teams in Melbourne came to watch myself and a goalkeeper on the team. I think they were mainly there for the goalkeeper, but we were both quite young, 19, 20, and we're playing in a pretty competitive competition, and our team wasn't as competitive.
Okay.
Anyway, long story short, half-time, it was sort of 4-0, I think, or 5-0 against, a team that was okay. That meant that they basically left at halftime, and that's sort of where if I was to look at it objectively again, my dream ended. So at 19, 20, but it was rough, but at the same time, a little bit. At the same time, it was nice though to have that sort of hard stop, because I think in the sporting world, you can keep going around spinning your wheels, but it was sort of nice to, in a way, know that wasn't to be.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? There's so much, because there's not a huge amount of control that you have to be a professional sports person. I imagine it is similar to theatre in a way, where there's a lot of control that you have over what you do and how hard you train. And then also there's a lot of external factors that play into your ability to get into a team or to get into a show, right? So yes, even though you can do everything that you can do, you're still at the mercy of other people, I imagine, in the same way, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And look, if the game had gone differently that night and we'd both had really good games and the whole defence and midfield had been a little bit better, we might have snuck into the youth setup. But again, I want to stress, I was nowhere near it.
Oh, lucky. It's still really devastating when you try so hard and you put all your eggs in a basket. It's really hard when it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it is. But I also have the advantage of saying I did my knee a couple of years later, so that's why I didn't make it.
Gotcha.
No.
Injury. That's what's up.
That's it, yeah. It's a classic. Did my name.
So why finance? Why finance? Like what is interesting about this to you? Is it something that you always wanted to do? Was commerce something that you were particularly good at school? I'm curious how somebody gets into something like the job that you do.
I think to high level I liked business. I liked understanding how different companies operate, how someone comes up with an idea and follows it through to execution. As a broad stroking statement, that sort of interests me. Commerce was broad by nature, and then I came out with it not having a real passion for banking or something a little bit more specific. So that's why I went into the more generalist consulting route. Up in Canberra, I was working with a director who used to work at Carney, a management consulting firm, and he focused on commercial due diligence, which is sort of scoping out different sectors to make sure that they fit with the company's overall goals when looking at a transaction. So looking at buying another company. So I did some work with him on that and really liked that angle of, it sort of married quite a lot of elements of what I enjoy, sort of like strategy operations, and then execution around big capital allocations as a statement. So yeah, that sort of uncovered an interest in doing deals, transactions, and led me to go from a very small pond in Canberra to a pretty big pond in London.
I'm very curious and interested to learn more about your time in London, but I'd love to understand a little bit more about this. So a lot of what you just said, I'm listening to, I'm like, yes, important. I don't really understand what most of what you're talking about means from a sense of, if you work for a consulting company, what does that mean? So if I'm your client and I'm coming to you with a business and you're a consultant for me and my business, what does that mean? What are you helping me to achieve? I think that's always been a mystery to me about folks in finance and consulting in general, that I don't understand. What does a consultant do? How do you help them make money?
Yes. Yeah. It's
I'm so sorry. I know this is incredibly basic shit, but I have always found the mystery of the finance industry, I find it really intimidating.
No, I spent most of my consulting career trying to answer that question.
Okay.
But, I think in consulting at a high level, there's sort of two reasons why businesses come to you. The first is that they want to enter something new, or they want to do something different than how they've been operating previously. And they either want someone outside the business who can look at it outside in to come to the same conclusion they had when thinking about the future, or to offer alternate views of the future and put forward sort of a thesis around why they're better. That's the one angle to it. And the second angle, which I found was probably the lion's share of my consulting engagements, was just capacity. So they didn't have people's BAU, took up their BAU, and they didn't have the ability to get after specific projects.
To grow their business. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
okay.
They would look at hiring outside consultants to come in for a sprint period to sort of get through that work. So yeah, I think consulting definitely has utility in society. I think there's been a bit of a swing against it of late, and I think it's just finding a balance in terms of what's the right amount of consultants in the world. Yeah.
Why do you think there's been a swing against it?
I think there's a few sort of government contracts that, to put it lightly, sort of haven't gone the way that the taxpayer sort of would want them to. So I think there's sort of a government element, and then there's also a government spend element, I think, would be the main one.
Interesting. Okay. I think this is going to be a conversation that I will continue to have with you, Lachie, over the time that we work together. One of our colleagues, I was joking with her the other day because I was working on something that with Stefan, and anyway, there was a quite a large script with a lot of financial terms in there, and I'm literally going, what is EBITDA? And we're going back and forth with finance terms for 12-year-olds, trying to understand, because there's a lot of acronyms and there's a lot of things that are thrown around in a very cavalier way, which is understandable when you work in an industry and you understand those acronyms, but for anybody outside of that, it's tricky. It's tricky to follow. And maybe that's me. Maybe that's just because my finance literacy in that particular format isn't as high as the average person. But do you think, we briefly had a chat about this yesterday before we came into the studio, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on, do you think that's by design in the finance world, that to keep people out a little bit, make you feel a little bit silly?
Yes, yeah, I think there's definitely an element of that. I think The Big Short, Ryan Gosling's character in The Big Short, like, sort of put it well, that Wall Street does do that to some extent, to sort of create obscurity and complexity where there should be greater insight from the general population. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, sort of finance is, it's the allocation of resources over a certain time period, and the acronym usage is probably higher than it should be. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things that a lot of people come into contact with finance more so than, like, if we were to think about software engineering, like there's a lot of technical terms in software engineering, but because it's not a part of our day-to-day, or it's not a part of the macro vision of the company, we sort of don't think about it as much.
That's a really good point, yeah.
But yeah, I think anytime I use acronyms, please pull me up on it, because I don't like to do that.
Thank you, Lachie. I appreciate that. I've been writing a little list of every time something comes up, or if Stefan says something, or if I see something online, I just sort of make a note of it and then Google it to go, okay, what does this mean? How does that impact ABC? So it's helpful. It's learning.
When I first started in investment banking, I had sort of a 3-page Word document with acronyms that I referred to in meetings, alt-tabbed quite a bit.
Nice. Just get that dictionary ready to go.
Yeah. And look, Claude is good these days as well, and it can really simplify things for you and put it into terms that you understand, layman's terms and all that sort of stuff. So got some tools now.
Happy days. I love that I was going to say love that for us, but you know what you're doing. So I love that for me, Lachie. That's great.
No, it's still good for me. Yeah.
So tell me about London. I'm really interested to know, did you have a job ready to go, or was that just something that, why did you want to go? Why were you interested in living over there and working over there?
Yeah, I think it's relatively cliche, like someone turning 30 in Australia and then looking to London or New York.
I've only got a couple of years left to get my working holiday visa.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But no, it was sort of small pond in Canberra. I think Canberra is a great place and a really good place to raise a family. Not sort of where I was at that stage of life. So I wanted to sort of experience new things, meet new people in London. Just booked a one-way flight, and then got some accommodation sorted and started handing in resumes.
Okay, so you don't strike me as a particularly spur of the moment kind of person.
That's fair.
Lachie.
Yeah.
I hope that's a kind assessment. I want you to know that that's a assessment of love.
Yeah.
But was it something that you had planned on doing, or was it a more last minute type of thing that you went, I
think it was, why not? Yeah, I think it was 2 months between decision and flight. So
that's
for me,
pretty short.
Yeah, for me because that involved sort of coming back from Canberra with all my things on a big truck, putting them in storage, getting the flight ticket over, obviously working out my notice period. So that was as quick as it could probably happen for me, I would say. But yeah, it's one of those ones that you just sort of realise you want to test yourself in something different and experience some new things. So no, look back on it very fondly, and probably could have done longer than 2.5 years. How
did you go landing somewhere with no job and then trying to figure that out as someone new? Did you have support there? Did you have friends or family in London already? Did you have any kind of network?
So I didn't have any family, but I had sort of friends or friend adjacent.
Yep. We
and
love a friend adjacent when
they're
you travel.
They're very good.
So helpful.
Yes, absolutely. So I sort of pulled those strings
great.
early on just to sort of meet people, because I think it's important, as you sort of alluded to, in a new place, that, quite a few of those became, what I would consider to be my best friends now. So over time, so that's always nice. But yeah, in terms of finding a job, it was very difficult because I was looking at both financial services and consulting at the time. And consulting, it was the fewest jobs advertised since the global financial crisis for consulting. So it was not a great time for me to move and be a consultant. But London's the financial hub of Europe because it deals with both time zones, or all time zones to some degree. So I pivoted into financial services, into transactions, and joined a sort of a boutique M&A advisory investment bank through that. And I think the one thing I found from all of my job sort of searching, and something that I sort of recommend to people that reach out looking for advice, is just just go after the follow-up messages and tailor them as much as possible. All three of my non-starting jobs, and so after the graduate job, all the other three came with additional messages to individuals off the back of job submissions. And I think things are getting quite competitive now for job spots, and resumes are getting very AI automated and polished, so it's harder to stand out from that perspective. So you just got to find those little edges if you can.
I can't remember if it was Dan, Harry, or Ross, but we had a similar conversation. It might have been Dan when he moved to Sydney, because he had a similar... He'd moved, I think he had been living over here for a while, and then he moved to Sydney and he didn't know anyone, and he had moved from South Africa. Yeah. And we were having this similar conversation about, especially now, I think exactly as you said, it's so much more important. And it goes such a long way if you've taken the time to research someone online, see what their interests are, genuinely curious about what their work history is or their life history is if they have anything online, and approach it from that angle. You're so right. It's a tricky thing to try and connect at the best of times. And so there's something really flattering when somebody cares enough to be interested enough to go for it, very specifically catering to you and your background and interests. Gosh, it makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. No,
good for you that you went and did that.
Yeah, it's sort of, and again, very grateful for everyone that sort of replied, because you're going to send out 10 of those and you're going to get one, maybe two replies. So very thankful for all those individuals sort of giving me a chance. Yeah.
And what was your overall thought of London? Had you been there previous to moving?
I had a couple of times. Okay. So I went once on a soccer tour and then once with my family. So very positive. Like, there are a lot of different pockets within London. And
hang on, sorry. You went to London on a soccer tour?
Just with
your team to play?
Yeah.
Says the man who didn't think he was good enough to play professionally. That feels like a big deal to go and travel.
No, we played against some professional academy teams, but
Lucky, that's really cool.
No, because if anyone sees this who I played soccer against, they're going to be like, he was nowhere near it. I want to make it very clear, I was nowhere near making it professional in soccer. I wanted to, but I wasn't there.
I appreciate the caveat, but also just a little pat on the back. I don't know, not everybody gets to travel and play overseas, so good for you.
No, it was very, I was very grateful for that opportunity. It was fun.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue about your London history.
Yeah. So I had those two sort of experiences, lots of different things to do in London, very close to Europe. You can jump on a flight, you can be in Paris in 45 minutes an hour.
It's the dream. Did you go often?
I did. I came back pretty much net savings, because travel was the focus for most months. But again, really thankful I found a really good group of friends, and we sort of were all there for the same reason, which was to travel and experience new things. So I think London's a very transient place, or can be a very transient place. So it's a good thing in the sense that you meet people who are in a similar life position or want to do similar things to you. So it was really good overall. And I met the friends I speak of were from Australia. I think there's a pretty strong Australian contingent over there, and especially in the areas I lived in.
Yeah.
People laugh whenever I say where I lived in London, but
Which was where?
Clapham and Islington. So I think they're pretty much the two Australian.
Of the two places that I've heard of, those are the two where all of my Australian friends live.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's okay. Sometimes it's nice to be surrounded by a little bit of familiarity when you're somewhere new.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I have some good English friends as well, and some other people there from the world they wouldn't have otherwise met. So, great place to sort of cut your teeth, challenge yourself, become resilient, because it is quite a lot harder than Melbourne in a lot of ways.
In what way in particular did you find it tricky? Was it from like a cultural aspect, or, I mean, I hate to say it, but from a weather perspective, was that tricky?
Yeah. I got my bloods done, and I was critical.
Minus vitamin D.
Critical, yeah, minus vitamin D.
Wow.
To the point where they're just like, you really have to go for it here on vitamin D supplements or else you're going to be in trouble. So that is an element. But I would just say, as a whole, and this is generalisation, there's completely
your experience,
different
Lachie,
experiences.
no problem.
Good caveat. It is more competitive in London from a work perspective.
Oh, interesting.
So I think the hours worked adage is true. Like, people are working longer hours. There's probably a bit less of a collegiate feel to some degrees, but obviously I was working in a different field as well. Deals are slightly more competitive by nature, but those two elements were factors. And then the third one is just like, you feel it's a big pond, so you can get lost in it pretty quickly. And I've I know quite a few people that went over for a few months, didn't quite work out. So it is not for everyone, but if you can get through those first 3-6 months, find a role, find some people that you like to hang out with, it's a great place.
It's that first 12-month period that's really critical, isn't it?
Yes.
The initial move can be exciting and overwhelming and a little bit scary, and you go, okay, but it's just still the first 3 months, and then the next 3 months are going, if things haven't changed, then it can feel a bit more like reality setting in, and that change can feel a little bit scarier. But yeah, if you can get through that first 12-month period. We had a long time ago family friend who got a scholarship to a college program for basketball. He was a really good basketball player, and this was a long, long time ago, but they had a policy where there was no family visits for the first 12 months because they felt very strongly about the fact that if you were going to be here and you were going to try and work and be in a new place, that it's really important to try and get through that first 12 months. And it was good resilience building, especially for younger people, like college-age students. And I think there's something to that, really trying to push through that first 12 months, because it's really tricky. It's really tricky.
Yes. Yeah.
And even though, London is an English-speaking city and there's a lot of Australians around, it's different.
It is. And there's just going to be moments where you have to remind yourself of why you moved.
Yeah.
And remind yourself of the upside, especially in those months. I think the really tough months in London are sort of January, February.
Okay, it's so cold.
Yeah. And they do Christmas really well. They start decorating in November, early November, which Mark would love because Mark loves Christmas. But then January, February is when it's sort of, there's no
the tourists
Christmas
have gone
upside,
that's really tricky. So what made you decide to come back to Melbourne then? Was there a particular moment, had a contract ended, or when did you know it was time to come home?
So I thought, in terms of what I was doing, I liked helping companies buy other companies. The bit I liked the most was helping founders sell. So I worked in the middle market, so they weren't big end transactions. They were sort of more salt of the earth people that had worked really hard their whole lives, paid themselves not too much on a salary, with the idea that at the end of it they would be able to sell their company and get their payday and sort of sail off into the sunset.
Wow.
So that was the best part of it by far. But then after a couple of years in M&A advisory, you sort of think about, some people sort of think about what's next. It's also a bit of a transient career. So I was thinking, do I sort of dip my toe into investments? So private equity, venture capital. And that's, in terms of competitiveness, that's on another level. So sort of thought about staying in London and trying to break in there, but top tier banking experience is sort of preferred.
Okay.
So as a result, sort of thought that was also not a bad time to come back to Melbourne and sort of, create the base. It'd been about 5 years then between Canberra and London since I've been in Melbourne. So yeah, I thought it was like 5's my favourite number, so I thought it was a nice time to come back.
Why is that?
Don't know now I've said it out loud, but almost everything I do in 5s.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, like my passwords, everything.
There you go. If you want to hack into Lachie's digital footprint.
Yeah.
555.
Some variations on the 5, but 5 is definitely in there.
I want to talk to you about Kismet. So you moved from London, you moved back to Melbourne. How did you find your way here then? Because you've been here for a little over a year and a bit, right?
Yes.
So how did that work out? Did you know someone that was working here? What's your Kismet story?
No, so it's I met with a venture capital firm and sort of spoke through where I was at in my career and my interest in venture capital. Like, looking at different businesses every day would be something that interests me. Their advice to me was sort of look at startups for now. Like, I had a good base foundation. I could make that better by working in a startup, which made a lot of sense to me because you can sort of see everything the whole way through, hopefully to exit. And as a result, you can sort of probably analyse companies a bit better than you would otherwise. So that was good advice. I was signed up to the Airtree newsletter.
Okay.
Off the back of that, saw the Kismet role front and centre, and it all sort of went from there. It was just a LinkedIn application, and then reached out to, I think, Nat to follow up.
Lovely. Okay, so a fairly standard process.
Yeah, it was. Like, I liked the interview process. It was sort of it was a few interviews, but they were streamlined and compressed, and you could sort of meet a lot of different people in the business, and it was good two-way interviewing process, I thought.
Nice. It's really interesting. I'm really happy to hear that story because your application process seemed to be the exception, not the rule, because most folks had a bit of a funny old way and yours just seemed pretty straightforward, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from you by any means, Lachie.
No, it's one of those ones that, in the moment you still feel like it's quite complicated.
Of course. That wasn't kind or fair to mention it in that way, but... Hello, it's Karina here. If you've enjoyed today's episode, may I ask you kindly to take a moment to like, follow and subscribe to the Kismet podcast on your favourite streaming app. It really does make a huge difference. Every follow and every share helps us bring these stories and conversations to more people, and that's what this show is all about. So if something resonated with you today, pass it on, send it to someone you think might like it, and just a very big thank you so much for listening. Okay, back to today's episode. Okay, the time has come to chat about goals, Lachie. How do you feel about them? You strike me again as a type of person who is goal-oriented. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yeah. I think if I'm to reflect on like how I've approached goals up until now, I think I've been pretty good on breaking them into smaller pieces. So weekly goals, monthly goals, I think I'm pretty good at. Historically, I've set some lofty goals on the annualized basis that have been probably a bit too punchy, or that I've trailed off halfway through the year because I wasn't going to get there, or whatever it was. So I think this year especially I changed that, and I sort of broke it into like the annual goals into 4 or 5 different subsets, and then within those subsets. That's a bit granular, isn't it? But within those subsets, like easier to achieve little small bites. And I think that's done me well. So like I've got a goals app in my phone, a goals note rather, that I look back on every Sunday.
Wow. So you're pretty committed to the goals.
These ones, I think because they're
Good
achievable.
for you.
Yeah.
Also, it's super normal for people to, there's that classic saying, right? Like people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. So just, it's give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Most folks have a tricky time with 12-month goals.
Yes, yeah.
And then so I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about luck, because you wrote some notes in our document and I was like, ooh, and I skimmed them because I didn't want to read them too hard because I really enjoyed what I was seeing. So could you talk me through luck and how you feel about it?
Yeah, sure. So I probably slightly changed my opinion from the notes I wrote.
Perfect.
So, I think firstly with luck, like there's different ways you can go about answering this question. But I think firstly, if I'm to think about it like on a macro basis, I think there's the luck of sort of where you were born. I think it changes the conversation from there quite dramatically. But if we were to look at even within Australia, there's different areas and different subsets that luck makes a difference. But I sort of think of luck, if you're comparing to people in similar situations, a little bit like a game of poker, to use that analogy. So you get dealt certain cards and someone next to you might get dealt different cards initially. That might mean that they have seemingly more luck than you, but I think you can make your own luck by, turning up to the table, keep going. You can make things to put the luck in your favour, sort of thing. I think that's sort of backed up by the fact that like there are professional poker players, because structurally, like if you think of it as a game of luck, like it should be very hard to become a professional in that. But you adapt, you learn skills, you become proficient in things, you try really hard at doing so, and then you sort of make your own luck a little bit more. It's not the tightest analogy, but it's not terrible.
I think you did well. I think we got there.
It's not that.
No, but I really did appreciate what you had written in here as well. Just that you're right. It is relative to where you're born, the folks around you. Unfortunately, those things do impact your ability to have luck and opportunities and all of those things. You wrote it so beautifully. Yes. Okay. So this is what I really like. If you don't mind me saying so, I'm going to just pull a little line out of here from what you specifically wrote. And you said, I'd say the responsibility to make your own luck is real, but it lands differently depending on where you start.
Yeah, that's better.
I think you really do a lovely job of being super clear about luck in that sentence.
And I think it's empowering to know that you can change your luck, or you can have an influence over your luck to a degree. So I think it's important to have that contextual overlay around, might be blending themes a little bit with like advantage and luck, but I think they're sort of connected. And yeah, if you can view it as, I'm going to try and make myself as lucky as possible, I think that's not a bad way to operate.
Now, Lachie, I want to ask your thoughts. We recently had a work event and the theme was mythical creatures.
Yeah.
And two of our colleagues, in very good faith, I might add, it was all with good intentions, dressed up as you.
They did, yes.
The Kismet mythical creature that is Lachlan Smale. And I am curious why you think you are thought of maybe as a mythical creature or someone who might be a little tricky to get to know. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. I brought it on myself a little bit.
Okay.
So
give me the background.
We had a pretty important meeting up in Sydney. So
Okay.
It was three of the executive team and then myself. I hadn't been in a meeting of this nature with them before.
Okay.
In corporate, I would have gone a suit, right? So I would have gone suit, maybe even tie.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, but
Not the Kismet vibe.
very much no. Yes, I think that would have been a disqualifying factor if I did that. So I thought about what's next, what's one layer down, and then I thought, this is very granular again, but suit, jacket, and like jeans, and I thought maybe that's too casual.
Okay.
So I went, the in-between for that for me was chinos, work shirt, and a vest.
I see, a finance bro vest.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was an unfortunate decision that I made.
Okay.
Because, I got up there and everyone was sort of in a suit, blazer and chinos.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. Well, which is fine because I think I was still formal enough.
Okay.
But there was part of me that was hedging because I thought they might just go in t-shirts.
Okay.
So that was...
And you don't want to be the least... Like, you don't want to be the most underdressed person there.
No.
If anything, you want to go over formal than under formal.
I thought I was doing a good job of treading that middle ground, but it sort of came back a little bit to bite me. But yeah, no, all in good fun.
Great. For context, I'll do a little photo here of
yeah,
Stefan and Pat.
Yep. No, it was
dressed
good.
up as Lachie.
I did. As soon as I saw them, I rang my sister who works in HR, and I was like, "Do I have a case here?"
She's like, "Call a lawyer."
Yeah, she's like, "You do." So, Stefan and Pat,
look out! Yeah, Luckie's coming for you.
I'm consulting multiple lawyers.
Oh, mate. Oh, it's tough. It's really tough because you want to feel confident going into these meetings. And unfortunately, wardrobe is a contributing factor to how you feel about being in those rooms and feeling confident.
Yeah. It was one of those ones that I still thought it was a good vest. So I was comfortable in it in the meeting, but...
That's the most important thing. If you felt comfortable and confident, Lachie...
Yeah, that's it.
Bully to everyone else.
That's right. Coming back on the flight, that's where the ribbing sort of started, and I get it.
Oh, I'm glad that you're not feeling super hard done by, Lachie. That's good.
Yeah. The only thing about the outfit was the hair. I thought that was a bit...
I thought the hair was a bit rough.
Yeah, a bit rough.
A bit rough.
They were
Again,
Elsa wigs.
Were they?
Yeah.
They were some bargain basement Elsa wigs.
Yeah.
They were not...
Yeah. So that was the thing I took most exception to.
Well, I think that, what is it? When imitation is the highest form of flattery.
That's right. Yeah, I've also got a year now to think about how I'm going to get both of them back on the next. Yeah.
Love
so
this.
any ideas, please let me know.
Mate, we'll just start a Word doc.
Yeah.
We'll just pop in a couple of workshop ideas and we'll figure it out.
Perfect. Sounds good.
I'm interested to talk to you about your goals for the next little while because you've got some fun stuff that you've written in here. But I'm curious if there's something at the moment that you are interested in. Have you got a fun hobby, or are you doing fun runs like every other person in Kismet at the moment? What are you super keen on at the moment?
Yeah. So I'm not a big runner. I wish I was. I think I might try and make that a bit of a goal going forward, not a marathon.
Okay.
Like a half, I think, would be my limit. I am playing quite a lot of pickleball and padel at the moment.
How are you finding that?
Yeah, really good. It's
Great.
huge. Both of them are huge in Europe. Like padel's massive in London.
So is that a different game? You're saying paddle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of padel has the sort of the walls around it, like squash.
Oh, it's not a water sport.
No.
Oh, it's Padel.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, no, you're right. I think I should pronounce it probably like padel. I think that's the proper pronunciation.
Oh, I see. Yes. It's like a squash court. Got it. Sorry, please continue. I'm with you. Oh no, sorry, I accidentally played a YouTube clip. Please continue.
So I'm enjoying that.
Cool.
That's like, a different sport than I've played previously, but
it's one of Australia's fastest growing sports, Lachie. There you go.
Yes.
So says the Australian Sports Commission on Google AI.
Huge. No, I looked to invest in paddle when I first came back.
Did you?
Yeah. The capital expenditure is just through the roof. The costs involved.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think so. Those two things are good hobbies I picked up, and one thing I really enjoyed, and I need to make, I'm going to make more of an effort, especially in the next year, is like seeing my niece and nephew. So that's been a real advantage of coming back. So they're 3 and 5. Uncle
Lachie.
Yeah, Uncle Lachie.
Cute.
The 5-year-old, I was always, because she knew me before I left for London, had a good rapport with. The 3-year-old James, I've taken a little while to win him over, but I think I'm there now with a pretty good Batmobile present.
Nice.
For his birthday, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, my biggest learning on that is like you have to get them something that they can play with on the day. Because for Christmas, I did quite a lot of research and found like things that I thought were quite good, but they weren't instantaneous.
Yeah. Unfortunately, small people like instant gratification. And also, bribery goes a long way with small kids. So,
Yeah, I was...
Whatever works.
I was contemplating, and a few people gave me this advice, like you got to start just giving him chocolates every time you see him. I didn't.
Oh, that's like super Pavlovian. That's I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's funny. I didn't think of it like that. I'm glad I didn't do that then. To my sister, I didn't do that.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's always fun to be the funkle, right? But also, you want to be like, it's the experiences too, right? Like that you can do cool stuff because you've got boundless energy.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. No, so that's been, a great part of coming back to Melbourne as well. So, and, obviously, seeing my friends and family, parents. Yeah. So those two elements are probably the biggest at the moment. That are taking up most of my time.
I'm interested to hear a little more about the work that you did with Anika Legal, because I was LinkedIn stalking you and I saw that you volunteered for them for a number of years. And I would love for you to tell me about that because it seems super interesting. Yeah.
So Anika Legal are doing great things. They're helping at a high level. They help people access legal assistance that who otherwise wouldn't be able to. So there's a bit of a gap between people that qualify for legal aid and then people that can afford legal representation. So they're trying to bridge that gap and have started off especially strongly in housing and rental rights. So I joined them during COVID as sort of a COVID offshoot project with a little bit of extra time. I was working in the corporate partnerships team.
Okay.
It was probably a stage of my career where I wouldn't have had as much impact as I might do now, but it also uncovered quite an interest in skilled volunteering as something that I think is a good thing to do, and that's one of my second half of the year goals, is to find a good corporate volunteering job where you can do sort of 1-2 hours a week, skilled volunteering, 1-2 hours a week, make a real tangible difference through that as a part of like sort of social utility straight line. So it was a really good experience, and again, really good organisation. The founder that ran that has done a really good job, and I think they were Victorian of the Year last year or the year before.
Wow, that's really cool.
They did a good job, yeah.
So have you noticed, was that something that you were specifically trying to seek out, was skilled volunteering opportunities, and you just noticed that there was a gap in the market for that?
Yeah, so on one of my engagements at Coles, I worked at Coles quite a bit when I was at PwC, got speaking to someone in the lunchroom who was with Anika, and it sort of snowballed from there. Spiral's the wrong word.
It's okay, we all have spiral, it's fine.
Snowballed from there. But yeah, could, especially during COVID, right? We have a few extra hours lying around due to the non-commute. Found it super interesting and thoroughly enjoyed the experience and what they're about.
That's really cool. So what's next for you after Kismet, Lachie? Obviously, we're very happy to have you here right now, and we don't want you going anywhere anytime soon. But what do you want for yourself in the future? What do you see that as?
Yeah, so I think I'm very lucky at Kismet in the sense that I'm playing across multiple business units and getting a really good sense of the business and sort of helping out the executive team with strategic decisions. As a result, that's sort of like uncovered a little bit of a passion within me to sort of start my own thing eventually.
Yay! So exciting.
Hopefully. A lot of water to go under the bridge, and very much committed to Kismet and where we're going in the short term. But eventually I think raising capital for a purpose, executing on that purpose with other co-founders would be something that I'd really enjoy doing. So I don't have the idea yet. I'll probably start postulating on that there a bit going forward, but the world's changing so much that it might not be the case an idea might not be the case in 5 years' time. But that's sort of ideally where I'd like to go to. I haven't been like an overly creative person, I would say, up until now. The only time I have sort of put forward an idea was to do with an accelerator during university.
Okay.
So they had this competition, put forward any sort of consumer product that you think would be useful. I got to the final round for that. So my idea was sort of an app that blocks other apps.
Great.
Or something physical that blocks other
like
apps.
The brick thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Lachie.
Well, the funny thing was they got to the end and they checked Apple's terms and conditions, and they said within there you can't have something that blocks it. So I got technically disqualified.
Dang, that's annoying.
Yeah, because the brick, I think it's a cool idea, and I think there's definitely still a ways to go in how we get people off smartphones.
Yes.
Like, again, I think there's quite a lot of use to them in terms of staying connected, but you also need the ability to stay off them. And we sort of have the smartest people in the world, well, a lot of the smartest people in the world working on how to keep you on them. So
Yes.
we need some tools to go against that. But yeah, anyway, that was like an idea that I had that...
That was stolen from you by the people at Brick. I see what you're saying. You were the inventor, OG. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Again, consulting lawyers. But
Yes.
no, yeah, so like that's probably the only example I have of thinking of an idea. But there's a big difference between thinking of ideas and executing. Like, I think almost everyone has had an idea that could have gone somewhere if they really went for it. But
Yeah.
I think I'll be in a life position, hopefully, where I can sort of think about big picture ideas and solving problems for people, and hopefully, real straight line social utility. So that's ideally big picture where I'd like to land going forward.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And how phenomenal. You couldn't be better placed with the folks around you right now. Like, what an environment to be learning from people who are really at the top of their game and what they're doing here at Kismet. So super cool that you have this opportunity to be learning so much, and eventually when you do have something that you are really passionate and keen and really believe in, that you can cash those chips, baby, and just, ask for help, because that's what's so great about the folks that we work with, is that there is the ability to ask for help, and so supportive. Like, Mark is so supportive of folks going out and doing their own thing, and that's really cool that that's possible for you.
Yeah, really good point, in the sense that, like, the founders have all sort of been there, done that before.
Yes.
So they've all independently either started or been part of the prior company, the immediately prior company Explore. So they all know how to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
Which is super valuable, because I think, like, there's a lot of benefit in starting something, failing, getting to the next stage, succeeding. But there's also equally quite a lot to learn from people that have succeeded previously. So, no, very grateful for that, learning a lot and getting into conversations and into rooms that otherwise wouldn't be able to. So it's all great. Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Do a follow-up in 5 years from now and go, Lachie, what's going on? You've built some sort of brilliant social media blocking app that's taken over the world. It's cool. It's really exciting. If anyone can do it, you can do it for sure.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's sort of, everyone at this company sort of is exposed to those high-level decision-makings. And when I was last night thinking about today, I was thinking about, like, quotes I think about often, or like thoughts I think about often. And there's one that I think about. It's people are just walking into rooms saying things. When I was like, where does that come from? Is that like, Socrates? But, it was from, do you know the show Peep Show?
You are the second person. Anna talked about this as well. This is the second time in my life I've heard about this show.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot about that. And I did watch your episode.
No. It's absolutely fine. But it's just funny to me because I had never heard about it. And then literally twice in a month I've heard about it, which is, I think, on me. I think it's a very popular show and I'm just not aware of it. So, but
it's good.
Please continue.
It's good. It's timeless.
So they say.
Watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just from a character in that show. But I think it speaks to something in the sense that obviously become as proficient as you can at whatever you want to be proficient at. Make sure you do your homework. Make sure you prepare properly. But at the end of the day, you just got to walk into rooms and sort of back yourself in. And doing so will get you half the way there, 3/4 of the way there. So yeah, that's a quote I think about often. Another quote I think about was from my mum and her father, so my grandfather, which is, if you're going to do something, do it well. Because I think there's, like, especially in modern society, there's a lot of multitasking. There's a lot of different responsibilities that people sort of take on. And as a result, you can be sort of present somewhere but thinking about something else. But if you can compartmentalize different times and focus on, I'm going to focus on this now and I'm going to focus on that later, I think that's also a really good thing to do.
Very wise, Lachie.
No, I just like I like quotes.
They're helpful.
Yeah.
They're really helpful.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a really useful way of staying focused, right?
Yeah. And I think I would do myself a disservice if I didn't mention one for my dad, because he's also given me quite a lot.
Okay, thanks, Dad. What have you got for us?
Early, if you're doing something that you're a little bit nervous about, try and get a positive involvement early into the interaction. So in sport, if you're not nervous about a game, try and get a touch on the ball early. Doesn't have to be the best touch, just has to be a touch.
Interesting. Okay.
If you're nervous about a meeting, say something early on in the meeting. Yeah, that's the other one for my dad. I think has sort of held in my mind quite strongly. So
That's
covered
a
all
good
bases
one.
there. Yeah.
Thanks, Papa Smale. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
They're all the quotes I got.
I mean, that's 3 pretty good ones. So thanks for sharing. I like those. Okay, my friend, last couple questions for you.
Perfect.
80th birthday party. You are not wearing a finance bro vest.
Yeah.
Maybe it's dress up party. Who knows? Is dress up parties your vibe generally?
I'm getting more into them as I get older. I was happy with my costume.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll put a little boop boop of Lachie here. I thought you did well.
Yeah. Look, I didn't disgrace myself. I put in a bit of effort.
Okay, so it's your 80th birthday party. Great food, great wine, great vibes, great people. All your best favourite people are there. What do you hope they say about you in your speeches? What do you hope the running theme is?
Yes, yeah. I think, reliability is definitely a theme that I sort of pride myself on, and that is something that I would like to continue as a friend, family member, all those sort of things. I think I had a bad period in COVID with communication. So I actually had, which I'm very grateful for, a bit of an intervention with some of my friends. They were like, you can't, especially now in COVID when people are sort of isolated, you can't go a few weeks without replying to WhatsApp.
You can't go dark. Yeah.
You can't go dark. Yeah, that's right. And there are periods, especially with the last little while at work's been quite busy. So I have had weeks where a week where I haven't replied, but I really try to make that a focus on comms and, wider than comms, just being a reliable person that someone can ask for advice, a favour, anything to do with showing up for someone is something that I'd probably like to hold going forward.
They sound like good friends if they were willing to call you out on that.
It's good.
They care.
Yeah. It was because we did a pub crawl, when you had to book 2-hour blocks at different pubs. It wasn't the first pub, but it was it wasn't
couple pubs in.
It wasn't the last pub either, so it was it was a nice middle ground.
Yeah, that's good. You got some good people there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm thankful for them, and hopefully I've sort of upheld that. In London, I was big on voice notes.
They're the best.
Yeah, in that period, I thought they were. Coming back now, I don't do them anymore. Because especially when you don't have. I think the thing I was finding tough with voice notes was when you have a 4 or 5 minute voice note, you have to put 4 or 5 minutes aside.
Yep.
But then you also have to remember what they've said at minute 1. And I think everyone's attention spans are getting a little bit shorter. So I'd have to have it earbuds on and then typing all right.
Got to write your
minute
notes.
1,
yeah.
Minute 2. But yeah, no, I'm definitely better at communication now.
This is a public service announcement for anyone who likes to communicate via voice notes. Keep that to 1-2 minutes max.
Yeah.
Just do the high level notes.
I think so.
And then it's just a little bit easier to play phone tag tennis,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I was definitely as big a culprit as anyone on those.
It's
Because it just
tricky.
gets away from me for a fact.
It does.
I'm sure today I've just rambled.
You haven't rambled. You've been very succinct and very clear.
2 or 3 minutes of just a stream of consciousness, but yeah.
That's okay. It's what we're here for. It's the joy of having our own studio, Lachie.
Yeah, it's good.
And then last but not least, 10-year-old Lachie. What would you go back and have a little chat with him about?
10-year-old Lachie, I guess, just I think back yourself is a good one. I think I've gone through phases of maybe where I think people would say in years maybe 9 to 12, I might have been on the too confident scale. But there's also been equally periods where I've been under. So I think just striking that nice balance of backing yourself, being open to different opinions, being open to different points of view, and understanding that I don't know everything and I'll never know everything. but having that sort of, that confidence is sort of, confidence that I'll be able to understand things in the right circumstances. So I think that would be the broad stroke statement I would say to, 10-year-old Lachie. Also that you'll grow out of asthma. So that was good.
Oh, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
What a delightful thing for you to know now.
It's good.
In your older age.
It's good. Like I was a chronic asthmatic growing up. So
mate, that's rough, especially for someone who was so into sport.
Yes. Yeah, it was good. It was bad. It's a weird tangent.
That's
but,
okay.
Like thankful for everyone at the Royal Children's.
Yeah,
Because
wow.
especially paediatrician Lionel Lubitz.
Thanks, Lionel.
Yeah, in a public forum, I thought I'd give him a shout out. But yeah, very much a chronic asthmatic growing up. So was on the Good Friday appeal once.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully I've done a better job today than I did then, because that was like Channel 7 went to me live and they just like...
While you were in hospital?
Yeah, well, I was in hospital. Like I was like 7 or 8.
Dude, that's a lot for a kid.
Yeah, but they were just like, please just say, I've just come in, I've got asthma.
And what did you do? What did you say?
They crossed to me and apparently I was just like, I've just come in because I'm a little bit sick. And they're like,
and the producers behind the camera going,
yeah. What sort of sickness? But no, that was, very thankful for them. And I'm still an asthmatic, so I'm purely grown out of it, but I'm not chronic. So yeah, that's the other thing I'd say.
That means scuba diving is potentially in your future then, because you're not allowed to do scuba diving if you've had like childhood asthma, which was very devastating for me to learn when I was on holidays a million years ago.
Is that right?
Something about your lung capacity underwater. You have to get a clearance certificate before they will allow you to do some sort of entry-level scuba diving. So just, hot tip to all the childhood asthmatics out there.
Yeah, you can do it.
If you're going on holiday and you want to go scuba diving, go to your GP, get checked out.
I love that. I might just do that just because of that reason.
Well, on that pretty random note, thank you so much for being here. I am very pleased to have learned more about you. I hope that this clears up a few burning questions for the folks at Kismet on who you are and what your background's been like, Lachie. So thanks for being here.
No, thanks, Karina. I'm very much looking forward to retiring the vest. I think this is the last. I think this is the last year. I think I'm going to go blazer now. Yeah.
Thanks, Lachie.
Thanks, Karina.